evening. My name is Kimara Snipe. I am running for OPS Board, Subdistrict 8, and that is really the extreme southern part of Douglas County, and it also stretches into Sarpy County. It is the home of Bryan High School, where I graduated from. Go Bears. Yes. We made it to state, I'm just saying. Anyway, so I'm running for OPS Board. Before that, though, I am really just the proud president of my neighborhood association, Highland South Indian Hill, which is also in South Omaha. I'm a neighborhoods person, a community person. I'm a mother of a 17-year-old. I'm also the co-director of a drill team in South Omaha. I've gone into OPS and done leadership development. Really, at the end of the day, I'm just someone who is a parent, who is a citizen, who chooses to act as opposed to just sitting back and fussing and complaining and, I won't say any bad words, that sort of thing. So that's my foundation. My foundation is neighborhoods. My foundation is, of course, as well church. I'm very, very active where I attend church at Allen Chapel AME in South Omaha as well. So that is really just who I am as a person. School board. To be very honest with you, this journey probably started a few years ago. I mentioned that I have a 17-year-old son. He has been a student at Bryan High School. I recently actually just pulled him out. He is actually now attending the Gateway to College program, which is still an OPS program. But as a mother, in 2014, I spent a couple of months away from home. I had suffered a major health event. I had heart and kidney failure. And so I was away from home. My son was a freshman in high school. And that's when I really started realizing the issues that were existing. And so as a parent, I recognize that schools in South Omaha, which by the way, Bryan and South, have many students from all parts of Omaha, Nebraska. So my son was having some issues with school, with his grades, and I had a teacher tell me, and no parent should ever hear, that there are so many kids in the classroom that I need to help this other kid because I know your son is smarter than him. So I need to help him first. You know, and I mentioned I'm not that sit-back person. That's never been me. And that's my baby, right? So as opposed to me sitting back and just fussing about it, I have to do something about that. There's a transportation issue. Me and my son live almost 4 miles away from the school, and yet my son can't take a bus to Bryan High School. Well, guess what? I'm taking Metro, I'm taking the bus, so how do I get my son to school? And if I ask these questions, I can't get answers. So now I have to work with the counselor, who has to work with the friend, who can get a van, who can come pick my son up. And these are issues that no one should have to deal with. Our children should be able to get up in the morning and go to school and get the education that's going to get them. What also they didn't mention was sometimes we can't get these jobs because we don't have the skills, right? So our kids should be able to get up, go to a supported public school without having to worry about 38 kids in the classroom or you can't get to school. So for me, the reason why I'm running is because I recognize that there are issues. My platform, to be very honest with you, I'm running uncontested. So I'm taking my time to really think about what that's going to be. Because whatever I say, that's what I'm going to do, right? So right now for me, that's transportation. That's the overcrowding issue. I'm trying to sit down with teachers as well, though, and do listening sessions. Because what I found out in my time being involved in what people call politics, I don't like the word, what I call service, is that oftentimes people who are in leadership positions aren't spending enough time listening to the people who are actually involved. So for me, it's transportation, it's overcrowding. I recognize a lack of diversity in the schools, especially in the staff. I have never been a teacher per se, but I have done leadership development in OPS in the elementary schools. I volunteer my time with my youth group, and we don't just dance. We do work ethics training, leadership development as well, and I also do teaching at my church. So I have a love for service. I have a love for youth, and I know what this world is going to do to them, especially in Omaha, Nebraska. And by the way, I attended the breakout session at Heartland 2050 last Thursday, and it was wonderful. It broke my heart, but it was wonderful. But some of these things are things that we can also prepare for in our school system as well. So that is why I am running for OPS board. I don't see much impact for low or middle class either with that. What I do see is a cut in corporate taxes over 5 years, and me with my background being workforce development, I guess on the flip side, I did see where they're going to be putting $5 million per year into workforce development every year. I don't know what that looks like though. So yeah, just to piggyback off of Spencer, I don't see the connection or benefit for low or middle class, but I will say, again, and this is probably going to be on a different question, but it leads into the importance of paying attention to who's running for office, what their position does. So really, it's just a matter of being focused and paying attention.
Basically, how can we relieve, you talk about the overcrowding in the schoolrooms. I know that there's always paying for the supplies. They're taking on a lot more work than their position probably have. So have you thought into how we can relieve that?
I have been giving that some thought. I've been hearing about the teachers who are going on strike. One of the questions that was going to be asked was about the budget, and even just thinking about that. I've been having some conversations. I was talking to Sharif Lowaru a little while ago. I'm going to first jump into the diversity and talent. We've got to find a way to keep, and I'm going to go back to the Black young professionals. We have to find a way to keep them here. What does that look like? I don't know. Everybody I know is leaving. No, I'm very serious when I say this because this is a conversation that we have with my family all the time. I have no siblings here because they have left. I stay here because I choose to and I want to make some sort of difference, but how do I do that? I know I can't do it by myself. With this school board, I'm really intrigued by the leadership that is coming in. What I really like to do is sit down and talk to her. Like I said, I've been talking to Sharif Lowaru. I don't know what that looks like right now. I don't know what I say to these teachers to get them here to say. But what I will say is this. Our teachers deserve respect. Our teachers deserve the pay that they should get. Our children in the schools, though, deserve to have a diverse staff that understand them. Again, how do we get them to stay here? I don't know what that looks like. I know what it looks like. It looks like fair treatment. It looks like equal pay. It looks like a cultural understanding of our youth. But how do we obtain that, I guess? That's the question I'm asking. You know what I mean? And I can't do anything but be honest with you because I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how do I get my own people to stay here. And I haven't even figured that out. They trying to get me to leave. You see what I'm saying? So that's a great question. I wish I had a better answer for you, but as I continue to talk to these teachers, as I continue to listen to them, we can definitely come back and continue this conversation, but I don't know how to get them to stay right now. But like I said, I've been having these conversations with people. I'm really hoping to figure that
out. As far as what you were saying, we were talking about the teachers, not so much the students. Because what I find and see that there's really no opportunity for the teachers. We don't get teachers from outside, and we can't even keep the ones that we have inside. So now we're getting teachers who don't have a degree, don't have a passion, have never been trained to teach, who is now teaching our kids. So what do you say about that? Because it's more to than the students, it's still the personnel, the office personnel. The office personnel and the custodians and the cafeteria, it takes all of that to make OPS. So that's what I'm saying. What are the opportunities for the teachers and the office professionals and those people that are not, being looked at as well because of the,
I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand your question.
My first question was the teachers. What opportunities do you see for
the
them?
Teachers?
For
as
teachers,
far as a more diverse set of teachers?
Well, being their job, their pay, moving up, their education, because now anybody can apply and be a teacher.
I was not aware that anybody.
I can tell you there's a couple of teachers that never taught, and they're teaching our high school kids. And because they don't know how to teach our kids, then they're just there. They're just there, along with not doing the background check.
Right.
So there are a lot of issues within the TAC building or the administration that will also hold and prevent the kids from progressing.
See, this is,
And it doesn't open, and we're not opening up to new students or teachers outside of Nebraska. We used to be able to get teachers outside of Nebraska as well. We're not, I mean, it's like the background check. They're taking anything.
And I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off, and it's interesting, but that's one of the conversations, and I hate to get off, but this is one of the conversations I was having with Sharif as we were talking about, you know, just the lack of cultural diversity in the teachers. Now, as far as just anybody be able to come in and teach, that is news to me, but that's something I'm going to be looking into. But that is, as far as the culture, that's one of the things that Sharif and I were talking about, as far as, you know, it seems to me like there's been an issue trying to find teachers just even within this area. So then the conversation was going and finding teachers outside of the area. But it also seems to me like just the board in itself has been, and I hate to say it, but it's been so toxic to where it's really like nothing has been getting done. And me, myself, I'm a process person, right? I like to come in and see what the process has been, what's the problem with that process, then try to address that. That's how I operate. Now, I will say that I was pleased by the fact that the board was actually able to come to a consensus on this new superintendent. But there's a lot about the board I don't know. I will be finding out, but we're going to be talking anyway. But there's some issues. There's some issues, and I really feel like what we're talking about with the diversity, that's a major issue. That's a major issue with our children. It's very hard for our children to go to school and just even relate, right? And so it's an issue. It's an issue.